Hello, I'm ABX Toycat and welcome back to another feature preview. Feature previews are a weekly series I run on my channel where I show you features that are going to be included in the next big update for Minecraft Xbox and Minecraft PlayStation. I do this by showing you PC gameplay of the equivalent update, which is of course 1.8 for PC, which means you can see how the new features look, you can see how they work, and you can find out how to get them before they do come out for the console. This means when the update finally does come out, you know a little bit more about it and you'll know exactly what you want to do. And yeah, today we're going to be going through all of the new building blocks for both creative and survival, because I know a lot of people do just care about, how they can improve their existing builds, how they can make new builds with blocks, and they couldn't care less about the new mobs, the new features and stuff like that. And that's why today we're going through each and every single one of the new building blocks in this next update, and I'm going to let you know a little bit about it and stuff like that. So if you do like the video, please do like it and let me know. It helps out the channel a lot and lets me want to see more feature previews. But let's get straight into the video, shall we, with Granite. So this is Granite right here in front of me, and basically Granite is probably one of the more unique blocks in this next update, because although it's not too hard to find, you just find it in big veins underground, it is one of the most unique colors of a block in the update, because look at it, it's just very, I don't know what to call that, like a pinky orange type deal. It's a nice color that we don't really have access to right now, and if you want to have like a really old cracked temple, I think Granite by itself is pretty great. However, what I recommend instead is combining 4 of it together, because you get 4 smooth granite in return, and smooth granite is a much better looking block, because as you can see, it's the cool unique color of granite, but it's in a much more refined, much smoother fashion that I much prefer. So yeah, that's polished granite with the granite. As you can see, 2 things you find in ground. Obviously, if we're moving on from granite, we're going to move on to diorite. Diorite is a really interesting block, because although it can be found underground, it can also be crafted from 2 cobblestone and 2 nether quartz, and then if you combine it with other blocks, you can actually then turn that into either andesite or into into granite, which means that you can kind of use this block to find the other blocks. If you want to get lots of it and you have lots of cobblestone and lots of nether quartz, you can totally make that happen. So yeah, this is diorite, very interesting looking block. It's got this again, it's got a very unique color that we don't really have right now, that I think could make some pretty cool builds of it. And I think opposite of the way granite works, I think polished diorite isn't quite as nice looking as the regular one. I think the the gaps between the blocks don't work quite so well with this messier texture, but that's just my opinion, of course. I think they're both pretty nice looking blocks, and again, both found underground or can be crafted themselves. And then finally here, we've got andesite. So andesite, in my opinion, is a really great looking block as far as both of these things go. I think this block in particular, the polished andesite, which again, you take 4 of these, combine them together, is really, really cool, because it's a good replacement for stone. If you're bored of stone, because we've had stone since, so many updates ago now, like literally the very start of Minecraft, if you're just bored of making a house out of smooth stone, you don't think that's good enough, then this is a really cool block to replace it, because it has the same blast resistance, it has so many of the same benefits, but as you can see, it's got a slightly nicer look to it, a slightly more modern look, if you will. And I think if if you're just bored of having done something for like, I don't know, 3 years now, then this is going to be a great way to move on from that. And yeah, that is polished andesite right there. So moving on from that, we have 2 new types of dirt. Probably not going to come up too often, but if you want them, there's podzol, which is just kind of dirt, but you can place mushrooms in there. And we've got grassless dirt, or coarse dirt, which just basically means that no dirt will spawn, no grass will go on there. It's kind of nice if you want to have dirt which stays as dirt and have it connected to grass, like I have here. Just a useful little thing right there. And yeah, again, they're not really building blocks, but they're blocks that are new and that you might use in a build. So I don't know if you want to count that, but if you do, that's that right there. So moving on from here, we have the prismarine blocks. So we've got the prismarine brick, and the dark prismarine over here. These 3 blocks are found in the underwater ocean monument, so they're not going to be gotten on existing worlds, which is unfortunate. But the really interesting thing about them is the fact that, they're only found in a limited quantity, but they are really nice blocks. Look at all 3 of them. They all have very unique qualities, and, this pattern here, look at it. It's just very, very different to, what we've seen so far in blocks, and that makes them quite cool. I think the downside to them is the fact that, you have to find them in the underwater monument, which isn't something necessarily everyone can do. But, besides that, pretty cool regardless, and I think these are some of the better building blocks. Again, if these first 9 I've shown you, the 6 blocks here and the 3 blocks just over here, I think these can combine really well and make some really, really cool builds that if you're just playing in creative, you wouldn't have access to otherwise. So yeah, also found in the underwater ocean monument, but kind of different to the other 3, is the sea lantern. So the reason the sea lantern is so different and cool is because, looking at it in the daytime, you're like, okay, it's a weird looking block, I don't want to use that too much, but looking at it at nighttime, you can see it's one of the cooler light sources in the game, because they do glow. It's not quite as strong as mud blocks, but it's still a really cool glow, and it means you can do some awesome stuff with it. So yeah, that is the sea lantern. It glows in the dark, meaning you can make a cool, not glaring, just glowstone in your build, and I think it's just nice in that way to make your builds work at night, but without having to do too much. I think it's great. So next up, we're going to have stuff coming from the Mesa biome, which is red sand, and then obviously red sandstone. And then from red sandstone, you get red sandstone slabs and chiseled red sandstone, which has a wither pattern on there, if you can't tell. And then there's a smooth red sandstone. I think smooth red sandstone is a really nice block. Probably my favorite out of the 5 we have here. But I think, the ability to make red sandstone stairs and stuff like that is going to be quite nice. And yeah, that's kind of cool like that. So lots of red sandstone blocks, lots of lots of things you can do with them. I think this block is going to be useful to make like kind of a mesa temple, make anything like that if you want to make it. And I think this is just a pretty cool block in general because again, we're kind of bored of regular sand. It's the palette Minecraft's had for so many years now, and this is going to kind of fix that. So yeah, found in the mesa biome, pretty cool regardless, and that's that. So next up, we've got the slime block. So this is mostly meant for jumping on top of, so you can be like, aha, I'm going to jump off something and land on a slime block. See, and you bounce. But if you want to use it as a building block, you can, because it's this very weird semi-transparency that isn't quite as strong as stained glass, but is still quite useful if you want to see through something, but just about barely. That's something you can do right here. So it punches quite easily, as you can see, but it's still a pretty nice block. And if you want to have like weird semi-transparency with this thing right here, then the slime block's right for you. I think you can make a window outfit if you want to make a very bizarre like stained clay window but with a weird statement. That's something you can do. But yeah, that is gonna have to be slime blocks. Not really too much for a building block, but still can be used as one. And then moving on from that, we have 2 blocks which used to be, or 1 block which used to be creative exclusive, and a brand new block which is coming with it, and they're both going to be accessible in survival, again through the ocean monument. It is the sponge and the wet sponge. So the wet sponge, you can probably work out what makes it different. But basically, yeah, you take a sponge, you put it in water, and you get a wet sponge. I think the sponge is just better looking, but if you want to make like a weird build with water dripping onto it without having to have water there, then I guess you could use the wet sponge. I don't know, it's something worth bearing in mind. But I think the cool thing is having sponges for access in survival. It's been creative exclusive for the longest time, finally coming to survival with the next update, and that's kind of cool. And then finally, again, this is one that's in creative already, but only kind of barely, and that is dark oak planks and dark oak wood and acacia wood planks and acacia wood things, as well as all the things they make, including slabs, including just all those different things, because I think they're really, really cool blocks, and having access to them in survival finally will be pretty cool, especially acacia. I think dark oak is very similar to spruce wood. I know it's darker, but when it comes to acacia, it's this very weird garish bright orange that I think is kind of cool. So yeah, that is all of the new building blocks you'll find in this next update. As you can see, we went through a bunch of different ones. Hopefully this has inspired you in some way. If it hasn't though, I figured what would be cool is just show you a few combinations, so you'd be like, oh, that doesn't work by itself, but it works something else. And the first one is red sandstone and dark oak planks. As you can see, it makes this really nice kind of pathway look here that kind of looks like, I don't know, to me it's like a really appealing orange chocolate bar or something like that. I really like the way the 2 colors blend together, and I think it's pretty cool. Again, a nice combination is if you look at the the dark prismarine block thing with the prismarine blocks here, you can see that you actually end up with this thing right here, and it's a really nice kind of bizarre combination of the two. I think these blocks work well together because obviously they come well together, but if that's not good enough for you, then you've also got stuff like this. I don't think it works quite so well with red sandstone, but I think it has some synergy there. And then you've also got with the diorite, you end up with this really nice kind of combination I like quite well, and then with the andesite too, it kind of works for a lot of stuff, which I think is nice, and it also works for a lot of existing blocks. So you see this, for instance, just to give you an idea of the fact that even though some of these blocks might not look amazing by themselves, they can complement existing builds quite well, and I think a big part of this update is going to be for the builders. I think if you're a builder, you're not going to be disappointed with this update because there is going to be a lot of new combinations that do come out there, and yeah, hopefully this video has inspired you and has got you looking forward to the next update, which you probably should be already. Oh, you probably are already, but yeah, if it did, I'd very much appreciate a like on the video, share if you really liked it, and subscribe if you're new around here. I make videos like this every single day on my channel, including a feature preview every single week leading up to the next big update. If you want to learn about all of the other feature previews, just all the features coming in the next update, check out the playlist, which is linked below. That's where you can learn about slime blocks, rabbits, and every other feature. I think I've covered almost every single one of them now. I think we've got maybe 1 or 2 left to do, and yeah, if you want to check those out, you can. Other than that, I hope you did all enjoy the video. Have a nice day. Let me know in the comments down below which block you're most looking forward to, and I'll see you all in the next one. Goodbye.